Hey all, here OS Reviews. In this video, we're taking a quick look at the Buddiesman Snappy. This is a phone accessory that tries to make your shooting experience more ergonomic using a grip as well as a physical shutter button in addition to zoom controls. And perhaps more importantly, it has a built-in gimbal, which makes the footage a little bit more steady. Pretty helpful if you are into video content creation using just your smartphone's camera. Furthermore, the Snappy also has a built-in LED ring on the rear that you can change the color temperature to be warmer or cooler, just illuminating objects a little bit better if you're shooting in darker environments. And by the way, the light here is also dimmable, so if we hold on it for a couple of seconds, you can make it brighter. In addition to long hold for a few more seconds, it will get progressively dimmer as well. Plus, the gimbal itself also works in both portrait as well as vertical orientations, depending on if you're creating long or short form content and also the platform that you're uploading the videos to. And you can flip the portrait or horizontal orientations by clicking here on the back. Now, I will say it's not the first time that we've seen a smartphone grip. Products that we've checked out in the past have included the Adonit Photo Grip. However, these past iterations have been merely a ergonomic grip that you can hold on to, plus a shutter button, compared to, again, the Snappy here that adds the actual gimbal for extra stabilization, motors inside, plus the LED light. So it's a fusion of a grip combined with, again, a regular gimbal that you can also find on the market. We've seen many, in fact, from companies like Home under their iSteady line. However, even the smallest gimbals for smartphones like this iSteady V3 is still much larger compared to the Snappy. And so when you're walking around with a conventional smartphone camera gimbal, it's a lot more noticeable, plus it's not going to fit as easily into your pocket, for example, if you're traveling or on the go compared to something like this, making it much more comfortable to carry and use. And that's particularly true in this day and age where smartphone cameras have gotten so good, particularly with added software processing, that it has basically replaced the consumer point-and-shoot camera market that was so popular in the 2000s and early 2010s. But these days, pretty much everyone just shoots with their smartphone instead. So if you are missing the ergonomics of a real camera when it comes to zoom controls, shutter key, and just easier to grip and hold, that's what this is trying to imitate. And because it is a universal accessory, you can pop it onto any smartphone, whether it's an iPhone or an Android device, which may not have built-in camera ergonomics. Although there are a few camera-centric phones throughout the years, such as the LG G5 that came with its first-party camera grip accessory, which tried to add similar functions like a grip in addition to a zoom control, or Motorola, back when they still made the modular Z line, had a collaboration with Hasselblad that you can attach onto the back of the phone, adding similar controls, or iconic Nokia Lumia phones back in the day also came with shutter keys. Almost all of the Windows phones, in fact, had those. But honestly, those phones are quite niche and specialized, and the majority of devices, particularly here in 2024, don't have those first-party accessories available. And so if you are just looking at a normal slab device, such as a Google Pixel, a Samsung Galaxy phone, then that's going to be where something like this might be beneficial. Quick look at the packaging. The company Buddiesman, by the way, does specialize in photography equipment, so this is not their first foray. They have made other tripods and also ring lights in the past, and some of the features that we see touted here include Bluetooth control, so if you are connected to your phone, you're able to then leverage the shutter key as well as zoom controls when you're shooting, and the grip can also be folded in half if you are traveling to save on even more space. In terms of the specs, this is the weight, so it's going to bear smartphone loads up to 280 grams, which should work for the majority of phones on the market. You also get a quick carrying pouch, plus a user guide, and a quick look at the design of the Snappy. Again, the arm here can be folded back if you want to make it smaller, like such. The construction here is made out of a fusion between kind of soft touch rubber, making it a little bit more comfy as you're gripping onto it. It's not as slick, and also having some metal accents on many of the mounts, as well as the moving components as well, like the hinges, to provide some added durability. Now, located on the inside here is going to be the Type-C port for charging and power. And by the way, the arm of the gimbal part can actually be completely detached from the grip section, so you can actually slide it upwards like so to pop it off. So everything here is actually quite modular if you want to make it as small as possible when sliding it into a backpack or even a smaller pocket. At the bottom here, you can use a coin, revealing access to two 18650 battery slots, so you can pop in rechargeable batteries of your choice, which is pretty good for repairability. It actually turns out that there is still a mounting bracket located on the side of the unit, so when you're actually mounting it, it goes sideways. We'll do a quick demo of that in a moment, but it seems to work all right. And otherwise, controls here include the aforementioned zoom, in addition to the camera shutter, and also switching the orientation between portrait and horizontal here on the rear. Now maybe only one con would be the camera shutter key, although it feels pretty tactile and clicky, seems to be only a one-stage button. And that is a difference compared to actual cameras, which have a two-stage key. So you can half press to focus and then all the way down to snap. So I would have liked to see a half press to focus function as well, but it is what it is. Some status LED for power and Bluetooth, as well as a lanyard slot can also be found. And then the grip section itself is also constructed out of soft touch rubber. You can just expand on it to fit in, again, universal smartphones. And last but not least, located at the very top is also a hot shoe slot. So you can pop in additional accessories, whether that's external microphones or even brighter external illumination sources like lights. So here's one such example of a additional fill light that you can pop on if you find the one that's built into the gimbal to be not quite strong enough, which is a really nice touch, making it feel a lot more professional as you're shooting. As for the aforementioned tripod mounting functionality here on the side, here's a mini tripod that they also manufacture called the Buddiesman MT02. So we can choose to use any one of the 3 standard tripod mounts at the very bottom here. So you can use other standard tripods as well, but this one just serves as a demonstration. Turns out that the side-mounted design doesn't really impede on the performance because of the, again, motor here that can flip the phone's orientation. The light here still functions as well, and the actual mini tripod, although not the main focus of this video, I have to say is also very well built. In fact, I would say it is very heavy duty because the entire tripod, despite being super small, is built out of a single chunk of metal and also holding the position of the camera without really shaking or moving around, with some added features including a bubble lever to tell if you are in a flat position or not, which you get both on the front as well as on the back for added visibility. So it does feel very robust, like a professional tripod that pro photographers would use. Feels almost industrial grade or commercial grade in terms of how dense it feels. Now moving into another demo, we're going to turn on the external fill light, which by the way also has a small OLED screen over here, which allows you to customize functions including the brightness level from 0 all the way up to 100. You can see that the lumens as well as the estimated battery percentage remaining also change accordingly, and you can tap on it once to also change the color temperature, making it colder versus warmer as well, turning the camera that you have in your pocket into a more professional shooting experience, as you can tell here. Now let's move into a quick demo of some footage captured using the stabilizer of the gimbal versus without it. Here's the first demo, walking without the camera gimbal, and see how it performs just by using some of the camera's built-in EIS. And as we are kind of jumping up and down, now here's the camera in the exact same mode, still with no additional OIS, but just popped onto the gimbal. Let's try walking around once again. Let's also try jumping up and down once. And overall, I can indeed confirm that the footage looks a lot more stable, particularly as I'm walking. Those micro jitters are mitigated quite well, and actually feels like I'm kind of walking on a dolly or rail. A lot of those smaller actions, particularly in panning, just get smoothed out quite well. So as shown in the clip, overall I think it works quite well for a really compact gimbal at the end of the day. That being said, because it is so small, it is really just stabilizing it on this one axis versus more sophisticated gimbals, which can have, for example, 3 axes stabilization, for example, rotating it left and right in addition to up and down. So the more motors that are inside, the more effective it will be across a range of different movements. Super extreme, extremely vigorous movements may still show up a little bit more. However, that's a compromise for getting a more compact design at the end of the day. Good enough, that is, for just walking around doing simple vlogs. Of course, if you're into vigorous sports and you're in really the wilderness or extreme outdoors, then that's probably where you want even more axes of stabilization, but you probably won't mind carrying a larger gimbal in cases like those anyways. This is really meant for just everyday carry in places like cities, which are a little bit more crowded and with more people around you. Otherwise, the ergonomics of the Snappy here felt pretty good, so you are able to more easily control things including zoom without too many problems. And if you are primarily using it for video because of the gimbal stabilization, I guess the lack of a two-stage shutter key doesn't matter quite as much because you're just pressing once to begin recording and once again to stop recording. It's really only when you're taking photos that a two-stage button would be a little bit more important. And otherwise, there is no companion app, so you simply connect under regular Bluetooth settings, open up the existing camera app on your phone, and from the viewfinder's perspective, again, it just looks something like this, also working quite well in both the portrait as well as the horizontal orientations that we can flip back and forth between. Tap on it once to begin recording, again to stop. The grip is pretty comfortable to hold using just one hand. In fact, using it in this kickstand mode, we can also take a quick look at their product page, and we can see that currently Snappy is on Kickstarter. However, because this brand has been around for a number of years now, manufacturing and selling other camera accessories, including their tripods and fill lights that we saw earlier, it's not like they're vaporware or just hit the scene. The Snappy is already in production and will be sold on their website soon. It's just for the initial sales, they're using a platform like Kickstarter to kind of reach a wider audience. Now, one other feature that I forgot to mention is you can technically use this as a power bank as well. If you're using the Type-C cable, you can plug it into your phone and charge your phone while using the gimbal simultaneously. Obviously, that will deplete the battery faster, but if you're in a pinch, you can power your phone for just a little bit longer using the gimbal's built-in battery. Additionally, because the controls are connected via Bluetooth, another creative idea is you can detach the phone holder from the grip section, so you can put the phone a little bit further away and then just use the button there to snap an image from afar as a remote selfie key, working up to 10 meters or 33 feet away via Bluetooth. So pretty flexible in terms of all the different ways you're able to use this thing. And you can also find it as part of a bundle with the aforementioned tripod that we saw there from earlier, called the Buddies Pod, in addition to their Buddies Light, or of course only the Snappy itself if you want to just carry something ultra lightweight. In fact, just to serve as an example, we now have it detached and using it just as a kickstand, allowing us to take a selfie shot from afar. A final look at the Buddies Light. Again, it is pretty good in terms of diffusing all of the LED beads, and it just charges using standard USB Type-C. And just like the grip as well as their tripod, it is built out of a solid chunk of metal, and also having some ventilation to prevent the light from overheating. But overall, for something so slim, it is indeed an extremely bright. And even the base here is magnetic, so you can attach it onto a standard tripod, onto the hot shoe mount of the grip, or even onto other magnetic surfaces. So there we have it. That's more or less it as far as our quick hands-on review of the Buddiesman Snappy, a hybrid smartphone camera grip slash gimbal, and I have to say it is a pretty neat accessory, particularly for folks that are taking lots of video using your phone. This will improve on the ergonomics plus the video recording quality thanks to the stabilization, particularly if you are looking at a phone that doesn't have OIS, only electronic image stabilization, then the built-in motors here will make the biggest difference. Or if you're shooting on something like a 4K or 8K mode, even many flagship grade smartphone cameras only have some form of electronic stabilization if you are reducing the quality to 1080p. So historically, it's been a double-edged sword where if you want higher resolution in your video, more detail, you often end up with more shaky results. And if you lower the resolution, you may get slightly smoother shots. But on something like this, you can still capture in 4K or 8K if your phone supports it, and then the stabilization will still be there because of the external mechanical arm. Not to mention some extras here, including a tripod mount, plus additional lighting, as well as mounting accessories that you can pick up as well. So not bad. So if interested, you can check out more details in the links down below, but for now that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews.